welcome to the podcast today. With holiday season upon us and winter fast approaching, we thought it would be a great idea to sit down with a couple of our most experienced snow fighters in Jim Laughlin, who's the Highway Maintenance Superintendent out of District 2 in Omaha, and Carlos Campa, who is the Highway Maintenance Superintendent out of District 6 in Lexington. And I tell you, I really enjoyed the conversation with these guys. You know, the plowing of snow and making sure our roads are clear during the winter is one of the most important jobs we do at the DOT. And we have a large number of our people that are so focused on it. So we thought it was great to sit down and learn a little bit more about it. We talk a lot about the long hours they work, the time away from families during the holidays, how serious our team takes the task of fighting the snow and just keeping our roads safe for the traveling public. And we also learned there's a lot of innovation going on in the snow fighting, a lot of coordination amongst districts, lots of new tools in terms of materials and tow plows and things like that. So a very fun conversation, a couple of our heroes here at the DOT. So I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did, and let's get to it. All right, Jim, Carlos, thanks for joining me today at the podcast. It's great to have you. So we're going to talk about winter. Winter's coming, right? Here we are in November, and we've already had one snow, or a few actually, right? You've had some in your area, Carlos?
Yeah, I've actually been, we have a district ops email that we throw out there whenever we get events, and I numbered mine. This last one was event number 2, and I was corrected by my D that it's number 3 for the district, but yeah.
In your area, it was
only 2
second.
for me, yeah, but it was 3 in our district.
So it comes early sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how you get prepared and what the events are like, but first I want to learn a little bit about you guys. So Carlos, where are you from and how long have you worked at the department?
Started out in '86 in Central City, District 4. I was there for 13 years. Made it to crew chief there. Then from there I went to Kearney. Made it there as a supervisor. Was there for 14 years and then transferred from there to Lexington as a superintendent.
And
I've been there for about 4 years
4
now.
years. So you got about 30 years experience.
I'm on 32
32.
actually. I'm working towards 32 if I make it.
You don't look old enough to be here 32 years.
If I make it through this meeting today, I'll be at almost 32 years.
I think you're going to make it through. I think you've got more than enough experience to survive the next hour.
So I live in Kearney. It's kind of unique, but I'm 12 minutes out of my district, out of my area. So there's been times when I've actually called District 4 and said, hey, get some trucks out. I can't get to my office.
Even though you're in District 6.
Yeah, so it's kind of
you got to keep those guys in District 4 on their toes.
Yeah, I've actually, when I first started, we called in trucks from both districts, so I've had to make some phone calls.
Well, yeah, that's important, right? Because we have these arbitrary district boundaries, but if there's a way to do things more efficiently or to help each other out, we want to do that.
Yeah.
Good. So we have a policy, right? You have to live within 30 miles of your shop. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm right in 30 minutes. So.
Yeah, so that works out for you.
Yeah.
And Jim, what about you?
Well, I'm from Omaha. I started out in Greenwood in District 1, and after 3 years, worked my way up from crew chief to supervisor.
Yeah.
I was supervisor there, and I started in 2000. 2007, I transferred to Elkhorn. My daughter was turning 16, and I thought I should probably be closer to home when she started driving. So there was an opening in Elkhorn, and I transferred up there, and then right away there was an opening for superintendent in Omaha. I went for that, got that the same year or so.
So you started in 2000 with the department?
I did.
So what were you doing before that?
Various things, construction, mechanical work, that kind of thing.
The work we do fit in well with your previous experience.
It did.
Yeah, you're long tenured, but some of us, like Carlos over here, start early and stay for the duration. We aren't seeing that as much, though, as I understand it. Turnover from new employees is a challenge for us. Yeah, especially in your district, I think, Jim.
It is 28%, something like that.
Yeah, and have you seen that trend grow over your time?
I have. It's gotten worse. It used to be we'd have 30 or 40 people apply for a position. Now it's more like 10 or 12.
Well, I know in your district, Carlos, I heard from the district engineer recently that there's been a couple positions we've posted where we have gotten no applicants.
Yeah, there's times when we get a lot and times we don't. Lexington right now, I'm sitting with 4 people that have been through one snowstorm, and out of those 4, I had one turn in his resignation, and then I've got another one that's on medical, so he's not here, and one just got promoted to supervisor, so we're kind of hurting.
Yeah, I know turnover is becoming more of a challenge for us. It's something we're all concerned about, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Pay is probably the number one.
Yeah. And with wages, like Tiffany right now has a crew chief job that I can't get people to apply for.
It's a problem, Jim. I mean, I talk about this a lot, and I know you've heard me, but it's something that we got to keep pushing on, and we don't have as much control of it as we should, and the state budget situation is such that it's not easy. The timing is very, very difficult, but it's something that I'm talking more and more about, and we're trying to get strategic about how to get there because...
But again, it's an important aspect because I got to have people to keep our highways safe.
We got to tell that story. Not that we haven't been, but we got to keep telling it, and we got to find ways to reach more people.
And I don't know
go for it.
about the rest of the state, but in District 2, in the next 6 to 10 years, there's going to be 4 or 5 supervisors, all 3 superintendents, and a DOM, all
Are
retired.
of age.
Yeah, it's the same thing in
So,
6.
All of a
It's a
sudden, it's
pressing
going to
issue,
hit.
yeah. It's a big challenge. It's not something that we're taking lightly. I know it's frustrating for you guys and for the folks that we work with because it's easy to talk about it and get tired of hearing about it. Maybe one of your guys, Jim, once said to me that he's had 4 directors telling him they're working hard for him. So good job. And, you know, I understand that frustration. We're going to do what we can. It's very clear we got to change the course here. If it's bad now, the trend is what's really, really concerning for me.
Right.
So, but what are some of the ramifications of it when you've got such a high turnover rate?
Getting them trained to do what we do in the winter. Winter operations is primarily our most important task, so
Yeah, and it's serious business.
it is. And keeping, the seats filled, the snowplow seats filled is really important. The tow plows that Dale's been getting have really saved us.
In terms of manpower needs.
Right.
But it's a more complex operation, though.
It is.
Yeah, and
You
so
need to have a more skilled driver.
Yeah, for those who don't know what a tow plow is, describe that.
It's a snowplow with a trailer that's a snowplow. It articulates out, and the truck can plow little over 2 lanes
All
at one time.
At one time.
And when you got 6 lanes going through Omaha,
It helps you get there.
they're pretty incredible because the public likes to tailgate our snowplows. They do. They're right behind us.
Yeah.
The tow plows are different because from the back, they look like a semi that's jackknifing. Traffic backs off of those.
They stay back a little bit because they don't know what it is.
Right.
Yeah. So how long have we been using tow plows?
About 5 years.
Yeah. Were people nervous about doing something
Yeah.
new back then?
Yes, really nervous.
Yeah.
But everybody loves them that
Yeah.
drives them. So
Yeah. People swear by them now.
They do.
And you guys have interstate in your district. Are you using tow plows?
No, we don't.
No?
I know Roger's talked about it, and I know that's the same thing when he's talking about that. A lot of my guys are like, they're scared of them, just the thought of them getting
Yeah.
something like that out there on the interstate, because
Yeah.
we don't get the respect from the semis, and that's the one thing, I think the speed of the traffic and all that, I think that's a big issue out there. They
Yeah.
get right on us. They don't hesitate to
Well,
get
you've
on
been here
our-
for a long time. Has it been like that forever, or is it changing?
Honestly, I think the traffic, the volume, and the semis, I think that's increased a lot,
Yeah.
at least in my area. When I
Yeah,
started
so
out
with
Central
more
City-
traffic, you'd expect it to be more difficult. Is the way the public treats you out there on the road, has that changed, or has it always been a challenge where people are kind of tailgating
I
you?
think it's been a challenge, but I don't know if it's this equipment that they drive nowadays, that they've got these cell phones and everything tells them how to get to where they're going. I think they drive in this cocoon down the road. They don't pay attention to what's going on out around this.
Yeah.
They don't pay attention until they're either involved in an accident or they're up on it, and it's almost too late maybe.
So back to the turnover issue and having to train new folks. In some ways, the equipment is easier to use because it's modern, but in other ways, there's more going on in the cab of the snowplow than there used to be.
Back in the day when I started, we had a single axle 5-yard truck. We thought we were getting a lot done, but the trucks we have nowadays are pretty nice.
Yeah.
The tow plows. But then back then we had one lever to flip and 2 knobs. Okay, a lot less to go wrong. This winter we've had some issues with equipment getting them ready for the snowstorm. So we have a lot of stuff in the cabs. There's more to go wrong, and the mechanics are having a lot more issues. They're trying to get them out, get them ready.
Because of the complexity. But it also makes it harder to train folks because instead of a fairly simple piece of equipment, you got a $250,000 truck
Right.
that's pretty complex.
Yeah,
and
you
a lot to
talk
learn.
about on the questions about what do we do to get the employees ready for the coming snowstorms and new employees, and even the seasoned ones. LTAP, I think it is. They've got a simulator. I don't know if you've had that come through your area
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Every
just had
year.
ours 2 weeks ago, and a lot of guys getting in those and getting them. It's kind of a fun little deal.
I'd like to do that. I don't know if I want
Yeah.
to get behind the wheel of a truck, but a simulator I could do.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Kinda
Jim,
helps
you
out.
seen that too in terms of getting folks trained up for this equipment? It's harder.
It is harder.
Yeah.
We start early. We start working on our trucks basically when winter's over. They start going over our trucks, the little things. We start working on sanders and stuff in August, September.
And getting
So-
new people behind the wheels of those things
and
early.
getting some seat time.
Yeah.
And then we use a lot of construction people in District 2. So
Sure. Yeah.
when they get out in March, they're usually not back in a dump truck until we put them in
So, yeah.
October, November.
And it's not like riding a bike.
Right. It's not like they're big.
Yeah. It's sort of a compounding challenge, right? You've got turnover that's increasing, and that's making it harder. But then the training necessary to get somebody prepared is more than it used to be, too. So that makes it even more difficult. Carlos, you talked a little bit about what you do to get ready for winter. So when do we start getting ready?
Actually, we start right away. I mean, like, for example, I have the dome.
Mhm.
It holds almost 14,000 ton
Of salt?
salt.
Yeah.
We have that peak price, off peak price, so
Mhm.
Roger will let me know, find out where you setting at,
Mhm.
and he'll wait for the price to go to that off peak, and then we'll start ordering that, getting that
Mhm.
filled up, or whatever he has
So
left
material
for the
side,
budget.
you're doing as soon as the
Right
price
away.
drops.
Yep,
Yeah.
right away. And then he'll
Yeah.
put out an email wanting to know who else needs salt, so
Mhm.
that's done right away.
Mhm.
So,
Uh-huh.
we'll start ordering blades, see what we need.
Yeah, and we're using a different kind of blade than we used to,
We have,
as I understand
that's
it.
the thing, we have different blades we can order now.
Uh-huh.
We're using shale now on our
Uh-huh.
road, so we choose blockbusters for that. It doesn't tear up the road as bad, so we
Uh-huh.
go to a blockbuster blade. There's different blades out there. I mean,
So you can customize the blade based on what road you're
well,
using.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And, the superintendents or supervisors have choices of what they want to try, something
Yeah.
they've liked before.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different options out there.
good. And same for you,
Yeah,
Jim?
same for us.
It's great to have options, but what you want to make sure is that there is a little bit of a science to try and figure out what the best one is,
Well,
and so you want to make sure that
Right.
it's
And
not
you-
just personal
You have to
taste, it's
get
the best
buy-in from your
performance.
employees
Sure,
too.
yeah.
You have to convince them that this is why we want to try this.
Mhm. So that's how we start getting ready. When do you start putting the blades on the trucks? I know in some of our shops, you can't even get the truck into the shop because of the size of them.
Yeah, some of the trucks don't even fit in the shop after they're put together for the winter ops.
And then when do you start putting the blades back on? Do you wait for the first forecast or sort of a certain time
No,
of year?
actually, we didn't get ours back together because we knew we had this milling project coming up. We
Uh-huh.
were getting the augers were already being worked on and getting them
Mhm.
ready. The blades were already ordered. Everything was already ordered coming in. So,
Mhm. But you've had a couple snow events, so
so
have
we've
you had
already
to-
been ready for those. The only
Yeah.
thing is we had some trucks that weren't operational, so we had
Uh-huh.
to get that going. So.
Okay. In your time here, have you ever been surprised by a winter event and all of a sudden the trucks aren't quite ready and we're scrambling?
Well, I think there's been a few storms that, they talk about maybe a chance of flurries. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of chance of flurries that turned into inches. So
Yeah.
I like to say I've plowed 6 inches of flurries before.
exactly, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had a whole crew sitting in a break room waiting for a snowstorm that was 100% going to
It
happen.
never comes.
And never happened.
Yeah.
So
Last winter we had, because we do this level of service,
Uh-huh.
we have A and B shift. Roger Klasman has 21 construction out of North Platte.
Mm-hmm.
We try to put them in with our seasoned guys to run overnight A and B shifts. So try to work that in. And so I'd get a hold of National Weather Service to find
Uh-huh.
out, okay, what are you thinking this thing's going to do? Well, there's a couple storms come through Gothenburg, Lexington that
Uh-huh.
kind of was moving to the northeast,
Yeah.
and said, yeah, it should be out of your area, whatever. So I said, okay, well, supervisor said, we can handle this. I said, okay, perfect. I told Roger, no, we're good. It's going to be out of our area.
Uh-huh.
Supervisor in Gothenburg said, yep, our roads are getting wet. We're good to go.
Uh-huh.
Next thing I know, he calls, our roads are getting covered again. So
Yeah.
we look at the radar. I think, it's starting to do a little circular deal.
circling
And that's what
back.
it did. It just stalled and
Uh-huh.
did this. And it hammered us. I called Roger and said, hey, you're going to have to send me some backup. So he did. He got people,
Uh-huh.
we had to put them in motel
The
rooms. and
best
they-
laid plans sometimes
Exactly.
don't work
and
out.
it happened to us twice that it did that. 2 storms that did that to us. That was last
last
season.
year,
Last year.
as recently as last
Yeah.
year.
And then we got hit with that Groundhog Day storm. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if everybody got hit with that one. That was
was a big
That
one.
one shut us down. I was in a grader. We had some construction guys that got stuck at the Dollar Interchange, so I went in a grader and I was getting them pulled out. They were stuck on a ramp. I was
Uh-huh.
pulling them out. I told everybody, it's bad out here. I said, just find a safe place. I told them just to stay where they were at. I got them
Uh-huh.
so they could at least leave when they were ready to. I got them out of the drift.
Uh-huh.
I was in a grader, come back. Roger calls me on my cell. Goes, hey, what's it like out there? State Patrol wants to shut the interstate. Well, Roger, I can just tell you right now, I can only tell I'm on the interstate by the delineator post.
Is
He
that
said,
right?
oh, it was bad. So,
Yeah.
so we did shut down.
Occasionally we do have to do that when it gets bad
Well,
enough. Yeah.
and I think we had semis across the interstate. We don't like to shut it down, but Mother Nature tells us we have to.
Well, and safety's got to be of our guys and the
Right.
public too. And we did a survey of the public recently, and we just got the results last week. I haven't shared them outside of a few folks, but 82% of the public thinks that we do a great job with snow. I wasn't surprised by that because I think we get a lot of compliments more than we get complaints, at least what I hear. But that's a high number. I mean, when we ask people about how good a job we're doing, I think snow was the thing that we were maybe even the highest on. I think we're well respected in the state for being able to keep the roads clean and making good decisions on those things. But it's such an important part of what we do. It's so visible. I hope that you guys and your teams understand that when they're
Oh, they do.
doing their work.
we push that this is probably the most important job we do is
Mhm.
winter operations.
yeah, I tell them that is our number one job.
Yeah.
Is winter ops. Everything else is in between, but that
Yeah.
is we drop whatever we're doing for this.
So
So
this, yeah. Do the guys take pride? The girls take pride in that?
They do.
Yeah.
They should. I hope they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the workers we have
Mhm.
with the state, especially long-term ones,
Mhm.
they have a pride
Mhm.
of ownership of the road.
They should. It is probably the most visible thing we do. It has the most direct impact on safety in terms of what decisions we make on a daily basis. It's just so important. So I know you guys do a good job of promoting that with your team, and people get that, but I think it's something we need to continue to do.
Yeah, I've got some old school guys that almost have to peel their hands off that steering wheel because it's an A and B shift. We limit them to about 16 hours. We don't want them out there much longer than that. So
Yeah.
it used to be in the old school, you know, they would run until the storm was gone and they could have a lot of hours on that
Yeah.
steering
Well,
wheel.
16 hours is a long run.
Well, and we want to get them out, get them 8 hours of rest and get
Sure.
them back in. And we
Yeah.
were able to do that, you know, with construction
Yeah.
involved. And I think you said you use construction too.
Absolutely.
So it allows that to happen, you know.
Yeah.
Where before it didn't
What's
do
it like
that,
to sit in a truck for 16 hours fighting a snowstorm and white-knuckled the whole time?
Yeah, I can remember those days.
What's it like? It's
Yeah.
got to be tough.
It's tough. Out on them roads that are like 25 miles from one end to the other, it's
Mhm.
pretty tough. Sometimes you don't remember going by a couple miles there, you're like, did I plow that? I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, what kind of mentality does it take, Jim, to be behind a truck for 16 hours when it's snowing?
You're pretty toast after 16 hours.
I would think, yeah.
When I first started, we were in another hiring freeze, so
Uh-huh.
we were a 10-man shop, 3 men short. My supervisor said, well, here's the rules. You can only plow 16 hours a day,
Uh-huh.
but at midnight it's a new day.
mhm. I remember that one.
I plowed a lot of 30-hour shifts.
Yeah. You
When you're
did?
plowing,
Yeah.
when the sun comes up, and
Uh-huh.
when the sun goes down and the sun comes back up,
My goodness.
You just
Yeah.
stop at the shop, have some coffee,
Yeah.
kind of splash your face, get reloaded, and go back out again. So
Man, that is,
we don't do that anymore.
well, that's an impressive commitment to the cause, that you have folks who are willing to do that.
it's what
And
you do.
they would do it now, but like
Yeah.
I said, we don't do that anymore. So
Yeah, probably for the best, I would think.
Our crews
Yeah.
plow 12-hour shifts, midnight till noon or noon to midnight.
And then you switch off.
yeah, it's
no, we
pretty-
do a 12, but we're allowed up to 16.
Uh-huh.
When the snow stops,
It's
the
not
storm's
over.
not
The storm's not over, right?
Because
Yeah.
there's going to be blowing snow.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be ongoing possibly for days. In Omaha, we have so many on and off ramps. The big gore areas,
Mhm.
keeping them clean
Mhm.
is.
So the snowstorm ends, everyone thinks we're in the clear, but you guys have lots of work to do to get there. If you lose it for even just a little bit, it's hard to get it back.
It is.
Yeah.
There's different kinds of storms. We have everything from sort of an ice storm, or maybe it rains and then it may freeze later, and then you just got snow that dumps and dumps and dumps. It takes a different approach for a different kind of storm, right? I mean, in terms of how you
Yes.
treat the road, or?
Yes and no. And in District 2, it's
Mhm.
not so different as it is other places
Mm-hmm.
because we attack every storm the same.
Uh-huh.
We send everybody out every
Mhm.
storm.
Mm-hmm.
We can't take any chances.
In some cases, you're putting material down. In other cases, you're just plowing.
Right.
So that can
Well,
that can
when-
vary,
When the
right?
snow starts piling up, you're
Mhm.
not treating anymore.
Uh-huh.
You're just plowing.
Yeah. And do we get out before a storm and do some treating, or do we wait for stuff to start falling?
We can pre-treat some.
Mhm.
We're not really a pre-treating district.
Mm-hmm.
So we will do some bridges, but that's about it.
Okay.
Some areas I think might pre-treat quite a bit more than we
Uh-huh.
do. We do have my 201 bridge.
Uh-huh.
We have potassium acetate in that, pre-treats
It de-ices
itself.
itself.
It's a de-icing bridge. Other than
That's
that,
pretty
that's
cool.
the one we have,
Yeah. Are you guys using brine in your district? Using liquid?
I've got just a few trucks and we're still trying to set them all up.
Uh-huh.
I came from District 4 in Kearney. I really wasn't a full brine operation because to do brine you have to have a lot of capacity
Mm-hmm.
and I really never had that. So we had
Capacity on the trucks, you mean?
on the
Yeah,
trucks. So we had
yeah.
a pre-wet system on the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
When I got to Kearney, I found out, I think it was District 3 at one time at a conference, they were talking about how they were almost all salt, and they were talking about how far a truck could go. At that time, I was 50-50 salt and gravel, and I had a couple routes that we had to have a restocking area. So
Uh-huh.
every fall, I had to move a loader under a pile of gravel and
Uh-huh.
salt to reload the
Yeah,
trucks to
mhm.
make a round. So I told Alan Horak, the Dom, how about if I go to salt? I believe I might have been the first one in District 4 to go to pure salt.
Yeah. And
So
you
I
saw a
can make it-
difference?
Well, yeah, I could make a full
If you
round with
make
the
it.
truck.
And then now you don't need a loader out there, and you don't
didn't need a
to
loader.
restock.
So when I got to District 6, that's what
Mhm.
I did there. I went to
Mhm.
straight salt. And then with the pre-wet system, then that kind of keeps the scatter and everything down. So
What do you mean by pre-wet? You pre-wet the salt?
yeah,
before
when
it
it's
goes
coming
down?
out of the spreader, it
Uh-huh.
well, we use Apex.
Uh-huh.
So we don't have a brine machine yet. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if that's going to happen or not.
Yeah.
To do brine, I don't know if you have brine. You got to have
yeah.
quite a bit of storage for
Uh-huh.
brine. Brine's got its place, but you got to have storage.
Just listening to you guys talk about it a little bit. Some cases we're doing more liquid than others. In some cases we're using a blend of gravel and salt, and now we're going to more just all salt. There's still some opportunity for us as a state to get more consistent in how we do it. Is that true, you think?
We should.
There's so many tools out there. I
Mhm,
guess, well,
mhm,
the more stuff you give your employees,
Mhm.
the more confused they are. They,
Mhm.
you know,
You're trying to keep it fairly simple for folks.
Fairly simple.
What about you, Jim?
In District 2, we just use salt.
Mhm.
That's the only product we use.
Mhm.
We do have pre-wets, and there's salt brine until it gets 15 degrees or dropping, and then we'll mix geomelt with it. Geomelt's kind of a beet juice derivative. We have no issues at all.
It's working. You know, Carlos, you've been at this for a long time. You know what you're doing. We got a lot of Carloses around the state who've been doing things and making changes, but it seems like there's still some opportunity to share ideas and best practices, and you got to do it in a way that works for you and your guys and the equipment that you have and the roads that you have.
And I'm with him, you know, we need to keep it simple so everybody's consistently doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So our roads all look the same.
I spent a good portion of my youth in North Dakota. That's where I learned to drive. I failed my first driving test. It was October, and I had never driven in snow, and it snowed the day before. I go to the DMV, I get in the car with the driver, pull out onto the main road, and the very first thing that happens is the light in front of me turns yellow, and I slam on the brakes. This is before ABS, and I just slide all the way through the intersection, and I didn't know what to do. I never slid in a car. I put it in reverse, backed up. And the light turns green, and we drive a little bit, and she says, "Yeah, why don't you turn around here? We'll go back to the DMV."
We're done for today.
We got your answer. So, but growing up in North Dakota, you know, it snows every day there, and if it doesn't snow, it blows. A lot of the neighborhoods, they don't plow them really until
they just
you
get
know
packed down.
they just get packed down. They're packed down for 3 months straight, and so you just get real used to driving real slow and cautious, and you learn how to drive on it. At the same time, there's times you get stuck out there on I-29, and it's pretty scary stuff. So we've got some of that same thing here in Nebraska.
We do.
Yeah.
I do wonder sometimes if the travelers in Nebraska, in North Dakota, you know, when it's bad, you don't go out there because it's a life and death thing. If you get stuck, it could be the end.
Nobody's coming to get you.
That's right. And the temperatures are such, it really is life and death, and everybody keeps a winter safety thing in their car. It's just the way of business. Everybody's car plugs in, you got block heaters on there. And in Nebraska, we have that same risk, but not as bad. And I wonder if that doesn't mean that our citizens take more risks than we wish they would sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
They think they got to get to Walmart, and they don't care that we're out there plowing ice-packed roads. They just go.
I've talked to some folks up in South Dakota. They don't plow 24/7 like we do on most of our main roads. They just don't. They show up at 6, and that's when they start. And the citizens up there understand that.
But they don't have the traffic counts.
They don't have the counts, but they also, I think, could be a cultural thing too, where because the weather is a little bit more extreme there, the culture is when it's bad, you just don't go out. But I can remember last Christmas driving home from North Dakota where my parents live. North Dakota roads were pretty clear on I-29. You hit South Dakota, they don't plow 24/7, and it was 3 days after a blizzard, and we drove 30 miles an hour the whole way till we hit Nebraska. You know, back to what the citizens expect here in Nebraska, they expect that we're going to have those roads clear, and we do. I think it's pretty impressive the way we operate and the level of service we're able to provide and protect people.
In 2009, on Christmas Day, we got a foot of snow. So all the
I
Christmas
remember
services
that.
were
Yeah.
canceled.
I got stuck in Lincoln that day. I was supposed to be going to North Dakota to visit my in-laws, and we got stuck in Lincoln for like 3 or 4 days.
So it's early morning. We've got a foot of snow on the ground. It's still snowing. There's cars stuck everywhere. And I went by one of the on-ramps, and here's some guys trying to dig this old man out. And so I pulled over and backed down a little bit. The ramp hadn't been plowed yet. You know, all we could do was keep the main line open. So I went down there and I started digging in front of him, and there were firefighters that were trying to get to work behind him that were trying to get him moving so we could all move on. So I had a truck come down and we plowed in front of him and we got him out. He was dressed all up in a suit, and I knew about all the Christmas services that had been canceled. Right before he left, I said, "Just out of curiosity, where are you going?" He goes, "Well, there's no Christmas services. I thought I'd go to the casino today." I just said, "Well, do me a favor." "Yeah, what's that?" I said, "If you make it there, stay there."
Stay there, yeah. Yeah, questionable decisions, huh? But you bring up an important part is that Mother Nature doesn't care if it's Christmas. There's a lot of years or a lot of holidays where many of us are with our families, but our guys are out there trying to
It's
plow.
about a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
I thought a lot about our team and how they're out there plowing, and you know, many of us are sitting in our warm homes with their families. And
Well, when I'm hiring people and I'm reading the opening statements and I'm telling them we get 12 paid holidays, but you're not going to get them all.
Yeah.
You're going to be working some of them.
You get paid extra.
You get
because
paid extra.
Yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
you'll probably
You're going to be
get
working.
well, but it's
Yeah.
hard on people, I gotta assume.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making a little extra, and they should, but that doesn't necessarily offset what you miss when you're not home with your
Right.
family on Christmas.
Christmas, New Year's.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of holidays, and I know you have too, we've had to miss. That's just part of the job.
Part of the job, yeah.
So far, I've been lucky. Most of the guys, or all the guys, they want to make the money, so
They
they're
do,
usually
yeah.
they're available.
Ready to go.
Yeah, we don't do on-call. I know that's available.
Mhm.
We've talked about it, and the guys don't want to do it, but they've always been at the end of that phone, so.
You guys do an on-call?
We do.
How does that work? Do you get paid when you're on call?
Yeah, they get 8%
They get a
of their
little-
wages
a little
when
bit
they're
of-
on call.
Okay. But that means you
But
gotta,
that means
you
they
gotta be
have-
ready to go.
Right. When the phone rings, they have 45 minutes to be at work, ready to go. It works well.
And so that works for you guys in Omaha, but you don't do that?
Like I said, when you call, they're there. So,
So even when they're not on call,
yeah.
they're on call,
Like I said, they want those hours, so they're
Yeah.
available.
ready to go.
So,
See, it's a different mentality in Omaha. When I was at Greenwood,
yeah.
the crew almost fought over overtime. You had to go in order of seniority.
Same thing in Kearney.
And in
Yeah.
Omaha.
Because everybody wants the
And in
overtime.
Omaha,
Yeah.
nobody cares.
Uh-huh.
Nobody wants any overtime, ever.
It's just a different
So,
mindset
right.
amongst the workforce there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. But same thing in Kearney, everybody wanted the overtime. There was one guy didn't call, he just had a son.
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was Christmas
You're gonna
morning.
give them the time off.
I didn't
yeah.
call him. I needed one truck to go treat a bridge.
Uh-huh.
So I called somebody else. And the following Monday, he come in there and he was mad as heck. So I didn't call him. Like, I thought maybe you want to be with your son. We could have done that later on. So I said, okay, I'll remember that next night. He was right. I
He's
should
dedicated to the cause
evidently, but more than I and
more than you even knew.
yeah. So
The reason we're out there doing winter operations is for safety, the safety of the traveling public. Keeps our economy moving during the winter and keeps people safe. It's also important we keep our own people safe. What do you wish the public knew about what it's like to be in those trucks and how important that safety piece is?
I would have to say how fast they're coming up on us. One thing we did, and I don't know if we can still do it, we used to put on our boards an advisory speed.
Uh-huh.
We did that, I thought, last year. At
You're
least
talking
for
about
sure.
the dynamic boards on the side, the message boards.
And
yeah.
the portables. We
Yeah.
slowed people down to 55 when we were out there plowing. You know, because they come in on my area and the roads are almost dry pavement on either side, like coming in out of North Platte. And we were actually slowing them down to 55. We did see a reduction in speed. Not everybody was abiding by it. And we seen it help. you
Well,
know.
I tell you, I like that idea when I'm driving. Sometimes I don't know
You don't know
how
what's ahead
safe
of
I
you.
can be. You know, I see some people driving faster than I'm really feeling comfortable, and I'm kind of wondering, well, how fast should I be driving? You know, if we could use our expertise to provide people a little bit of information, that'd be good.
You know, now we have to call the
You
SOC.
gotta call it in, yeah.
And I don't know if that's still allowed, but
Yeah, giving people an advisory speed limit sounds like a good idea. You know, the SOC thing, I think generally it's been a very good thing to get consistent in our messaging across the state, but we got to make sure that we aren't forgetting to put things on there that have been helpful before.
We'll put icy conditions, reduced speed
Yeah,
advisory.
because you guys are still managing your own
Right.
operations center because
We
you're
are.
managing the traffic in Omaha.
Right,
Oh.
and we have our state patrol right in
Yeah,
our
right there. Yeah,
operations
I've been in
center.
there, yeah.
And I gotta tell you that having the state patrol right with us was the best thing that ever happened.
Better communication, is that the
It
main
is.
thing?
I mean, we're one. If I'm seeing a problem,
Mhm.
I can go talk to the captain right over.
Right there. Yeah, we've got co-location in a few places, and where we have it, I hear that same thing.
Great partnership.
Good. Jim, what about you? Any final words on
Well,
what the public needs to know about our work?
Well, they need to realize that those trucks have a lot of blind spots. And, you know, I say this every time I do a television interviews.
mhm.
When they ask me any advice, slow down, and those trucks have a lot of blind spots.
Yep.
Don't stay in them.
What I want the public to know, it's the same thing for our folks out in the work zones, is it looks like it's a truck, right? But there's a Nebraskan citizen in that truck that's a dad or a mom, and man, they're out there giving it everything they got and have a little bit of respect for what they're doing. And it can be frustrating to come up on one, but without them, you wouldn't be able to move at all. So give them a little love is what I want to tell people. Well, guys, thanks for coming in, for
Yep.
taking the time. Thanks for all you do, and got a winter upon us, so good luck this winter. Stay safe. Tell your teams we appreciate them, and we got their back.
Thank you.
All right,
Yep.
thank you guys. So that's my conversation with Jim and Carlos. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I really appreciate the work that our snow fighters do and the sacrifice they make to keep the public safe and keep commerce moving throughout the winter here in Nebraska. Thanks for listening to the podcast, and we'll see you next time.